Good morning, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Dr. Cammy and Karen Go Keto. It is Sunday, and we're doing our catwalk. Here we go. Here's Karen in her little outfit. She's looking good. She has a little bit of work to do, not a lot, a little bit around her tummy and around her back, and looking really good. And her hair is getting darker, we believe. So she's doing some wonderful work there. And we've had a little few slips here, both of us, but we're here and we're reporting in. Okay, here I go.
All right, Cammy can't hear us while she steps back, so please pardon my French. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Okay, Cammy, we're still filming. All right, there's Cammy. Turn. There she is. If you watched our earlier videos, you know Cammy had a small binge and I ate a dinner roll the other day. Okay, now Cammy's going to do her belt that she's been doing, which at one point she had it down to two holes, but now she's up to, are you at two? She's at two. All right. So she didn't think so. She thought she was at one, but she did it. See, it didn't affect her quite as much as she thought she did. Her binging is changed and it is a little better. Fewer items for the binge. So it did not have quite the effect you thought it would, did it, Cammy?
No, it didn't. No, it did not. The answer is no. No, and I am feeling better about that in this moment.
Well, and it's interesting how much you attach to that result.
Yes, it is, Karen. It's very interesting. And I think we were talking earlier before we started filming about mindset, and mindset is everything. Your mindset is really important in looking at what is or isn't going to happen in your life. And for me, it's been decades that I've been hurting myself with food in my life, and I want things to be better in days. And that's just not the way it's going to happen for me. It's almost like if you can figure, hey, it's been decades that I've been beating myself up. It's even reasonable to think it's going to take years to make it better,
Well,
and I don't think it's going to take years. I think it's going to take months.
Well, and the thing is, it's going to take consistency. And that's the whole thing. Our channel is all about transitioning from basically a standard American diet to a ketogenic / carnivore lifestyle. And it, like I learned with my dinner roll, I have been eating out and not having dinner rolls for months.
No, for years. I think it's been longer.
Years. On occasion I would have some, but before it was like, bring on the bread basket. I'd eat the whole bread basket, or bring on the basket of chips and I'd eat the basket of chips. So certainly for like the last 2 years, I haven't been doing that, but I do know that it is kryptonite for me. I do know that once I don't say, do not bring me, don't put the bread down. Don't bring me bread. I know I've been on this channel complaining about it before, right? It's like they come up to me with the bread basket and I have the wide open opportunity to say, please don't leave that here because I don't eat bread. And obviously I think there is a conversation in my head that I do eat bread. Go ahead and put it down. Because if I don't eat bread, why would I make it so hard on myself to have her put it down and not eat it?
Right. If you didn't eat bread, then you wouldn't eat bread. It would be in front of you and you wouldn't eat it.
Yeah. So there is a conversation there that still has not disappeared.
And I really think you're right, Karen, about communication and about landmarks, saying that as long as you keep a conversation going, things are going to still be there. And when the conversation is gone, even, if it's in your head about the bread, it will stay. And when the conversation is gone, the actions will disappear.
Yes. So Cammy is referencing landmark education, which is education that she and I have both done back in the day. And one of the things that one of the technologies, because it's all about creating your reality through your speaking. And one of the conversations or one of the technologies is conversations disappear. So, if you think that somebody is going to remember that your birthday is March 7th and you haven't talked to them in 10 years, that conversation has disappeared. right? But on the other hand, somebody, maybe their favorite child's birthday is also March 7th. So there's something there that anchors the birthday. And in this case, the breadbasket anchors the conversation of, boy, don't I love dinner rolls, right? And so to end that conversation, having a physical anchor or a physical marker is something that you need to remove so that that conversation disappears. Some conversations we want to stay alive, and some conversations we want to disappear. And so to make them disappear, you try to get rid of all markers of them, whether it's your thoughts or your self-talk or a breadbasket, or if you want it to stay alive. For instance, I wanted to go to a webinar that I was thinking about signing up for, but didn't write down anything about it, except for in my mind, I remembered, oh yeah. And of course I remembered after the fact, that was that webinar I wanted to go to, that I wanted to watch. So if I had put it in my calendar, it would have been kept alive. If I had registered, they would have sent me emails that I would have seen, and, because they keep it alive because they want you to attend the webinar.
Right. And so the conversation that I'm having disappear is the one about binging every 3 to 4 weeks. I want that conversation to disappear. And the way I'm going to do that is by understanding that I am a carnivore for months or years or forever. And that used to be really hard for me. I remember when I had this conversation in my head, I can't go without, I can't eat meat. I can't eat meat consistently and only carnivore. And that goes back to our challenge. We had that 10-day challenge, and I could only do like 3 or 4 days in a row, but I got enough to feel so good on carnivore. And so now it's, weeks in a row, and then soon, so it's hard to get rid of some of those conversations, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, first of all, we're not expert at it, right? Your conversation has been for a year and a half, basically, is I binge every 3 to 4 weeks. Before that, your conversation was I binge when I want to binge, right? So you've actually transformed that conversation. You've already transformed your speaking of that. So what you have to look at is, and I have to look at this regarding my eating out. What you have to analyze what the payoff is, when is the trigger, right? Or triggers, and what do you have in place to support you, right? So I eat out every breakfast. So if I eat out for every breakfast, I need to start early in the day and probably late the night before and say, you know what? Tomorrow is another day. I'm not eating out. What is my plan for eating? Because otherwise I'm going to go and eat breakfast. So what do I get out of it? How can I get the same payoff, but doing something different? And because I've been doing that, since I've been a young adult, I mean, I spent most of my college budget on eating out at the Magic Pan restaurant. So, I mean, it's not something new. That was...
Yeah. And that's what makes it difficult,
40
right?
years ago.
Well, these are wonderful conversations for us to be having about everything that we're up to. One of the things is, for me, is we talk about this in, around my other addictions, is that, a lot of times I'll be thinking, and under the conversation, I want what I want when I want it. And I want it now. And that kind of reminds me of somebody who's on TV a lot, who's in the political arena. But anyway, so I am needing to work on that conversation too.
Yeah. And, they probably overlap, right? So
yeah,
you can see how that works. And just don't think that the conversation is going to disappear overnight, right? Be kinder and gentler and, let it flow. 3 weeks from now, I think what you maybe want to do is look at your last binge, right? And then 3 weeks from now, put a notation in your journal that says, or in your calendar that says, I'm not binging today. I'm not binging today. And maybe you want to put that in your calendar for every day until that day.
Right, right. I did that this last time because I knew it was every 3 to 4 weeks. So on day 21, I started really paying attention, and I started really bumping up my phone calls and going to more meetings and journaling and doing my acts of loving kindness. I started doing all of those things to boost myself up so that I didn't do that. And I made it to day 25.
Well, and maybe that helped, or maybe it didn't. Maybe that was what kept it alive to day 20. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know, right? We don't know how our brains work. But what about, because we didn't really talk about, you did talk about it a little, but you have a whole, we've done the anatomy of a binge, and we know you have stages, and you didn't do the whole stages, but that's another conversation. Like, well, you said, oh, it was a binge, it wasn't as bad. And maybe look at, maybe your binges aren't bad. Maybe invite that conversation into your brain and say that each one is a lesson for you to learn how much discipline you have, or because really what it is when you're willing to cut off your tools and not use your tools, because we've got those tools to keep you from binging, but you're not using them, then what is there to support you, right? You're just hanging out there taking your chances.
Right. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here with us, and we'll have a good week. We'll see you next Sunday for our catwalk, and have a great day.
Bye, everybody.